Okay, everybody. I am at a hotel and I'm just being silly. I'm using all these towels because I'm the only one in this room right now. So this is like the sauna version. And chapter 21 is where we're going to start today. 1 Samuel chapter 21. And in the previous chapter, David and Jonathan were having like a very kind of a dramatic and kind of tragic goodbye because they realized David had to get away from Saul. So anyway, this is chapter 21, David at Nob. Alright. David went to Nob to Ahimelech the priest. Ahimelech trembled when he met him and asked, "Why are you alone? Why is no one with you?" David answered Ahimelech the priest, "The king sent me on a mission and said to me, 'No one is to know anything about the mission I am sending you on. As for my men, I have told them to meet me at a certain place. Now then, what do you have on hand? Give me 5 loaves of bread or whatever you can find." But the priest answered David, "I don't have any ordinary bread on hand. However, there is some consecrated bread here, provided the men have kept themselves from women." David replied, this is an interesting line. David replied, "Indeed, women have been kept from us as usual whenever I set out. The men's bodies are holy even on missions that are not holy." That's a line for the ages, right? How much more so today? So the priest gave him the consecrated bread. Since there was no bread there except for the bread of presence that had been removed from before the Lord and replaced by hot bread on the day it was taken away. I also kind of look like I'm a Bible character right now. Alright, now one of Saul's servants was there that day, detained before the Lord, and he was Doeg the Edomite, Saul's chief shepherd. And David asked Ahimelech, "Don't you have a spear or a sword here? I haven't brought my sword or any other weapon because the king's mission was urgent." Oh man, David without a sword, that's kind of sus, right? The priest replied, "The sword of Goliath the Philistine, whom you killed in the valley of Elah, is here. It is wrapped in a cloth behind the ephod. If you want it, take it. There is no sword here but that one." David said, "There is none like it. Give it to me." David at Gath. That day David fled from Saul and went to Achish, king of Gath. So now we got David lugging around the sword of a 9-foot giant or 8-foot giant. But the servants of Achish said to him, "Isn't this David, the king of the land? Isn't he the one they sing about in their dances? Saul has slain his thousands, and David his tens of thousands." And David took these words to heart and was very much afraid of Achish, king of Gath. So he pretended to be insane in their presence. And while he was in their hands, he acted like a madman, making marks on the doors of the gate and letting some saliva run down his beard. Achish said to his servants, "Look at the man. He is insane. Why bring him to me? Am I so short of madman that you have to bring this fellow here to carry on like this in front of me? Must this man come into my house?" That's a funny situation. It makes me think of all of the crazy people in Portland. literally people who have lost their minds. You guys should come and see for yourselves. Chapter 21, David at Adullam and Mizpah. This is chapter 22. David left Gath and escaped to the cave of Adullam. When his brothers and his father's household heard about it, they went down to him there. All those who were in distress or in debt or discontented gathered around him, and he became their commander. This sounds like Japheth again, doesn't it? Because Japheth was known for, like, basically, the Bible says, a group of scoundrels gathered around him, and that's what's happening to David here. Also kind of has like a Robin Hood feel, doesn't it? Like Robin Hood and his merry men. From there, David went to Mizpah in Moab, and said to the king of Moab, "Would you let my father and mother come and stay with you until I learn what God will do for me?" So he left them with the king of Moab, and they stayed with him as long as David was in the stronghold. All right. But the prophet Gad said to David, "Do not stay in the stronghold. Go into the land of Judah." So David left and went to the forest of Hereth. Saul kills the priest of Nob. Now Saul heard that David and his men had been discovered, and Saul was seated, spear in hand, under the tamarisk tree on the hill at Gibeah, with all his officials standing at his side. He said to them, "Listen, men of Benjamin, will the son of Jesse give all of you his fields and vineyards? Will he make all of you commanders of thousands and commanders of hundreds? Is that why you have all conspired against me? No one tells me when my son makes a covenant with the son of Jesse. None of you is concerned about me, or tells me that my son has incited my servant to lie and wait for me as he does today." But Doeg the Edomite, who was standing with Saul's officials, said, "I saw the son of Jesse come to Ahimelech, son of Ahitub, at Nob. Ahimelech inquired of the Lord for him, and he also gave him provisions and the sword of Goliath the Philistine." So this dude's betraying David, right? Then the king sent for the priest Ahimelech, son of Ahitub, and all the men of the family who were the priests of Nob, and they all came to the king. Saul said, "Listen now, son of Ahitub." "Yes, my lord." Saul said to him, "Why have you conspired against me, you and the son of Jesse, giving him bread and a sword, and inquiring of God for him, so that he has rebelled against me and lies in wait for me, as he does today?" Ahimelech answered, "Who of all of your servants is as loyal as David, the king's son-in-law, captain of your bodyguard, and highly respected in your household? Why was that day the first time I inquired of God for him? Of course not. Let not the king accuse your servant or any of his father's family, for your servant knows nothing at all about this whole affair." But the king said, "You will surely die, Ahimelech, you and your whole family." The king ordered the guards at his side, and you just start to see how paranoid Saul has become at this point. "Turn and kill the priest," he says to his guards. But they too had sided with David. They knew he was fleeing, yet they did not tell me. But the king's officials were unwilling to raise a hand to strike the priests of the Lord. Then the king ordered Dog, "You turn and strike the priests." So Dog the Edomite turned and struck them down. That day he killed 85 men who wore the linen ephod, and he also put the sword. Nob, the town of priests, with its men and women, its children and infants, and its cattle, donkeys, and sheep. But one son of Ahimelech, son of Ahitub, named Abiathar, escaped and fled to join David. And he told David that Saul had killed the priests of the Lord. And then David said to Abiathar, "That day when Dog and the Edomite was there, I knew he would be sure to tell Saul, 'I'm responsible for the death of your whole family. Stay with me, don't be afraid. The man who wants to kill you is trying to kill me too. You will be safe here.'" And David saves Keilah. This is chapter 23. When David was told, "Look, the Philistines are fighting against Keilah and are looting the threshing floors," he inquired of the Lord, saying, "Shall I go and attack these Philistines?" And the Lord answered him, "Go attack the Philistines and save Keilah." But David's men said to him, "Here in Judah we are afraid. How much more then if we go to Keilah against the Philistine forces?" Once again David inquired of the Lord, and the Lord answered him, "Go down to Keilah, for I am going to give the Philistines into your hands." So David and his men went to Keilah, fought the Philistines, and carried off their livestock. He inflicted heavy losses on the Philistines and saved the people of Keilah. Now Abiathar, son of Ahimelech, had brought the ephod down with him when he fled to David at Keilah. Saul pursues David. Saul was told that David had gone to Keilah, and he said, "God has delivered him into my hands, for David has imprisoned himself by entering a town with gates and bars." And Saul called up all of his forces for battle to go down to Keilah to besiege David and his men. And when David learned that Saul was plotting against him, he said to Abiathar the priest, "Bring the ephod." And David said, "Lord God of Israel, your servant has heard definitely that Saul plans to come to Keilah and destroy the town on account of me, while the citizens of Keilah surrender me to him. Will Saul come down as your servant has heard? Lord God of Israel, tell your servant." And the Lord said, "He will." Again David asked, "Will the citizens of Keilah surrender me and my men to Saul?" And the Lord said, "They will." So David and his men, about 600 in number, left Keilah and kept moving from place to place. When Saul was told that David had escaped from Keilah, he did not go there, and David stayed in the wilderness strongholds in the hills of the desert of Ziph. Day after day Saul searched for him, but God did not give David into his hands. While David was at Oresh, the desert of Ziph, he learned that Saul had come to take his life, and Saul's son Jonathan went to David at Oresh and helped him find strength in God. "Don't be afraid," he said. "My father Saul will not lay a hand on you. You will be king of Israel, and I will be second to you." Amazing bond, right? Even my father Saul knows this. The two of them made a covenant before the Lord, and then Jonathan went home, but David remained at Oresh. And the Ziphites went to Saul at Gibeah and said, Is not David hiding among us in the strongholds of Oresh on the hill country of Hachilah, south of Jeshimon? Now, your majesty, come down whenever it pleases you to do so, and we will be responsible for giving him into your hands. Saul replied, The Lord bless you for your concern for me. Go and get more information. Find out where David usually goes and who has seen him there. Let me just read that part again. I think I missed a little bit. Ziphites went up to Saul at Gibeah and said, Is David not hiding among us? Now, your majesty, come down whenever it pleases you to do so. We will be responsible for giving him into your hands. Okay, so the Ziphites aren't good people. Certainly not from David's point of view. And Saul replied, The Lord bless you, find out about the hiding places he uses and come back to me with the definite information, and then I will go with you. If he is in the area, I will track him down among all the clans of Judah. So they set out and went to Ziph ahead of Saul, and now David and his men were in the desert of Moab in the Arabah south of Jeshimon. Saul and his men began the search, and when David was told about it, he went down to the rock and stayed in the desert of Moab. When Saul heard this, he went into the desert of Moab in pursuit of David, and Saul was going alongside the mountain, and David and his men were on the other side, hurrying to get away from Saul. As Saul and his forces were closing in on David and his men to capture them, a messenger came to Saul saying, Come quickly, the Philistines are raiding the land. Then Saul broke off his pursuit of David and went to meet the Philistines. That is why they call this place Selah Hamalakoth. And David went up from there and lived in the strongholds of En-Gedi. We'll do one more. This is chapter 24. David spares Saul's life. After Saul returned from pursuing the Philistines, he was told, David is in this desert of En-Gedi. So Saul took 3,000 able young men from all Israel and set out to look for David, and he met David and his men near the crags of the wild goats. He came to the sheep pens along the way. A cave was there, and Saul went in to relieve himself, and David and his men were far back in the cave. The men said, This is the day the Lord spoke of when he said to you, I will give your enemy into your hands for you to deal with as you wish. And then David crept up unnoticed and cut off a corner of Saul's robe. So, yeah, that's that's a scene for a movie for sure, right? Saul's trying to take a pee, and David, while he's doing that, just cuts off a small piece of his robe to prove that he was there and could have killed him. Afterward, David was conscience-stricken for having cut off a corner of his robe. He said to his men, The Lord forbid that I should do such a thing to my master, the Lord's anointed, or lay my hand on him, for he is the anointed of the Lord. With these words, David sharply rebuked his men and did not allow them to attack Saul, and Saul left the cave and went his way. Then David went out of the crag and called out to Saul, My lord the king. When Saul looked back behind him, David bowed down and prostrated himself with his face to the ground. He said, Why do you listen when men say David is bent on harming you? This day you have seen with your own eyes how the Lord delivered you into my hands in the cave. Some urged me to kill you, but I spared you. I said, I will not lay my hands on my Lord, because he is the Lord's anointed. See, my father, look at this piece of robe in my hand. I cut off the corner of your robe but did not kill you. See that there is nothing in my hand to indicate that I am guilty of wrongdoing or rebellion. I have not wronged you, but you are hunting me down to take my life. May the Lord judge between you and me, and may the Lord avenge the wrongs you have done to me. But my hand will not touch you, as the Lord's saying goes, from evil doers come evil deeds, so my hand will not touch you. Yeah, so obviously he felt conscience-stricken that he cut off a piece of his robe, but not conscience-stricken enough to return the piece of robe or to even stop himself from showcasing what he had done. It's just the complexity of a character, right? He definitely used it as leverage to clear it up with Saul, and then against whom has the king of Israel come out? Who are you pursuing? A dead dog? A flea? May the Lord be our judge and decide between us. May he consider my cause and uphold it. May he vindicate me by delivering me from your hand. And when David finished saying this, Saul asked, Is that your voice, David, my son? And he wept aloud. You are more righteous than I. And he said, You have treated me well, but I have treated you badly. You have just now told me about the good you did to me. The Lord delivered me into your hands, but you did not kill me. When a man finds his enemy, does he let him get away unharmed? May the Lord reward you well for the way you treated me today. I know that you will surely be king, and that the kingdom of Israel will be established in your hands. Now swear to me by the Lord that you will not kill off my descendants or wipe out my name from my father's family. So David gave his oath to Saul, and then Saul returned. He'd already kind of given that oath to Jonathan, but he's making it official with Saul. But David and his men went up to the stronghold, and that will be it for today. We're going to do a little bit shorter. We'll see you at chapter 25 tomorrow.